Welcome to the Royal Alliance channel here, everyone. I'm Maggie McKee. I'm an independent NECAN consultant from Vancouver, Canada. Beautiful West Coast with the stunning summer weather that we've been having. I don't know if you're all familiar with the Royal Alliance channel, but all week we have calls that are sponsored by independent consultants like myself to educate people about the NECAN choice, the NECAN opportunity to have a life that's active wellness and in balance. So I'm here to share my story and answer any questions that you might have about NECAN. So I'm just going to, oh, there's Madeline. Okay. Just going to mute this person. Madeline, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, there we go. I can't see you. That's the challenge. Let me just get my screen down here a little bit. There we are. Okay. So Madeline and I are here today to share what we have experienced, a little bit of what we've experienced with NECAN in terms of our active lifestyle, our health and well-being, and why we chose to also embrace the concept of collaborative entrepreneurship with NECAN. So Madeline is from Ohio, and I am from Vancouver, Canada, as I mentioned earlier. So Madeline, why don't you kick it off and just tell us what you like about the NECAN philosophy of the 5 pillars of health, this holistic approach to life.
Well, this is what attracted me, this balance in the body, mind, family, finances, and society. So just quickly about my story. I started nursing 51 years ago, and the last 17 years of my professional career was that of a corporate vice president of a healthcare system. And I loved everything that happened. I loved my career until cost containment came in. And so with the merger of 2 hospitals, I had to, unfortunately, transfer patients, lay off about 300 staff, and then after 18 months into the transition, I was a part of the cost savings. So my life became all of a sudden out of balance, and I kind of thought my world ended. And a very dear friend, a nurse with a chronic cardiac and pulmonary problem, called me almost immediately. Madeline, you know, I have something for you. My heart's better. It had been 2 years that Jerry had been in, at that time, primarily a sleep system, magnetics and far infrared. And she had a profound product experience. Well, the last thing I wanted to hear about was a network marketing company dealing with magnetics. And I thought even though she had a master's in nursing, I thought, okay, Jerry, you know, anyway, she kept sending me tapes and calling me. And 2 years later, so for those who are listening to this, kicking the tires and doing a discovery process for the business opportunity, I'm very grateful that Jerry was persistent with me. A tip I would give is that she kept sending me audio tapes. Now, we have this forum where Maggie can be in Canada and I can be here in Ohio on 2 different time zones, and we can share with those of you that are listening, either live or through the recording. But Jerry was still recovering, even though she had a profound experience and didn't come to see me. I would have responded to the difference in seeing her, but I thought what she was explaining to me sounded crazy. So anyway, fast forward. When I met her to return the tapes, I just couldn't believe it was the same person. And I said, Jerry, what did you use? And she very wisely said, you said we weren't going to talk about NECAN. So she's kind of short and talked for 2 hours, and I did my head-to-toe assessment. No shortness of breath, no signs of the steroid she had been on for years, no jugular vein distension. And I stopped her and I said, okay, I want to know more about this, because I had known her since 1966. So I knew her for a long time. I knew the progression downward of her chronic illness, and she had actually was on a waiting list for heart-lung transplant when NECAN came along. So she had a very profound experience. Then when I walked away that day purchasing a pair of insoles retail as a customer. By the time I got home, I had a profound product experience, and it's what we're supposed to do today. At that point, I had heard enough from her about her brother's financial success and others in the upline, Dr. Greg Nelson, the Royal Diamond, and so forth. And I was interested. So when I met with her, and I'm coming up to this slide, Maggie, but it's my personal story on this slide, she opened up a Creating Balance brochure that we used, which has this balance in body, mind, family, society, and finances in this beautiful wheel with spirit at the center. And I looked at it and started crying. And she said, "What's wrong, Madeline? What's wrong?" And I said, "I have been teaching continuing ed courses for nurses to make extra money in my outplacement with body, mind, family, spirit." Maggie, it's right behind you, the one right behind you, that balance wheel. But what I didn't share with her then is after losing the job, my then physician husband decided he was going to leave too. And so no one else knew. And I just thought where I was out of balance was healthy family, my mind. I didn't feel the effects on my body yet then, because oftentimes with chronic stress and acute stress, we don't feel it until later. So when I saw that balance wheel, I signed on the dotted line and I purchased everything because I wanted to have preventatively a response like Jerry did, fixing it afterwards. I knew that if that could happen to her, I knew enough from a healthcare perspective that I wanted those results now. I needed that sleep system to crawl into night after night to survive all the losses I was going through. So living a life in balance, and before you go to the next slide, our world is so out of balance. The definition of healthy family is a root of healthy society. We have such a profound purpose, mission, societal need, and nobody else has what we have in our philosophy, in the combination of the 5 product technologies, in the new way of earning money out the door with the new Teach 3 to Reach 3 with 5 customers. And so the duplication of 5s and living a life in balance. 18 years later, I appreciate having been outplaced. I wouldn't be as healthy as I am today. I take no medications at age 69. And now I'm restarting again with a new excitement about the new vision and the new NECAN and having this opportunity, Maggie, to be with you. And in being with Maggie, I met Maggie on a mastermind team. So what I thought was my world of friends in Greater Cleveland, and I was on a few national committees with the American Nurses Association, but I have a whole world of friends that are my family. So we have a wellness home and we have a healthy family, but we also have a new family of like-minded friends. And a few of us together, sharing like we are tonight, can have such an impact to make our world better than what it is at the moment. And I think everybody listening would agree that there's room for improvement.
Well, I certainly agree, Madeline, and I think you and I initially suffered from the same disease called too many degrees. We're both highly educated people who may have been a little resistant to grasp this initially, but what I remember back from over 20 years ago when I was introduced to NECAN is my body was very much out of balance. I had had chronic pain for 30 years at that point. And I had been spending thousands of dollars and thousands of hours looking for relief. And I knew intuitively, and this is how I made the decision looking back, was that I saw the 5 pillars of health and I went, wow, that's what I teach. I was a college professor with tenure. And I thought, I like that. And I had already researched magnetics for health. So I got that piece of it. But the business part of it was not in my view, except that my friend who introduced me to this, like your friend, was very wise and said, you know, there's more to it than just getting healthy. We can help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, and probably even make some money. And I said, that sounds like a good plan. So that's what drew me in. And everybody enters NECAN somewhere in these 5 pillars of health. And once we're in with the products, we realize that this is a transformational business where we get to experience more of everything in all of those 5 areas and then share that with other people. So I can't think of a better way to make a living, to be honest with you. And I do not miss the atmosphere of stress that you get when you teach at the post-secondary level, believe me. So this is a life I didn't even know existed, that I'm very grateful to be living. As a matter of fact, my life is so great. Now, talking about time freedom, I am heading off to France again for the 3rd time in 3 years at the end of September because I can. I love France. I'm going on an amazing tour with Carolyn Mace and my dear friend Roxanne from Vancouver Island. And we are going to be sharing this concept with people over there as well as we do here. And
Carolyn Mace, Maggie, the Anatomy of the Spirit, Carolyn Mace?
Yeah,
Ooh,
exactly. Very exciting. Very exciting. So, I mean, if you look at this list here, this is unfortunately the state of the union, if you like. People are very stressed for a variety of reasons, whether it's finances or time pressures or just an inability to meet the demands of life, just no opportunity to relax. And all of that affects our family life and all of those 5 pillars. So we are a global solution that most people have never heard about to this financial crisis that we're in now. I mean, all the other pillars are important. Today, our goal is to talk more about the financial need and the financial situation that we find ourselves in. And I'm fortunate to live in Canada in so many ways. And one that really pops out is because our healthcare is universal and it's paid for by the government. So I had a hip replacement, gosh, I think it's 3 years ago now. And with the products, I recovered so quickly. I was only in the hospital for a day and a half, but the healthcare costs were zero for me. But I've heard, Madeline, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that in your country, many people go bankrupt because of healthcare costs. Is that true?
Absolutely. There are many people that are underinsured. There are many with huge deductibles, $4,000 and $5,000, that they have to pay first before the insurance will kick in. And there's many that have no insurance. So it's not a good situation. And the cost of insurance, many employers are cutting that out. So it's not uncommon for people, the couple that I went to an expo with this weekend are paying for their family $2,000 a month for their health insurance premium. He was self-employed, he retired early, and that's the cost for their family.
Wow.
So not many people have an extra $2,000 a month to pay for a healthcare premium. And if you don't have coverage and you end up with a catastrophic illness, it is one of the causes of bankruptcy. So it is a major economic issue in the United States.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that's really common here in Canada is the low wages now. So many people, unions have been pretty much dismantled, and a lot of people of all ages are working for minimum wage, and just that lack of enough money to make it to the end of the month has such a stress factor. And then people start accumulating debt because credit cards are so easy to get, and the cost of living continues to go up even though the wages are not doing that. And then people lose their jobs very often. You face that, Madeline, and what happens when people our age lose their job in their 50s and 60s, it's really hard to even get another job if you wanted to get another job. So we really have a solution for people who are looking at taking charge of their financial health and leading a life that's very meaningful, because what we offer does add tremendous value to the world. I mean, I'm always educating myself, so education expenses have been at the top of my list for decades. And I know that some people just don't have the opportunity to do that because they don't have the money. And of course, retirement is a huge issue for many people now. So what do we do? This is a solution we're talking about here. NECAN is an organization. It's a research and development company that started in 1975. So we've got over 4 decades of success helping people have this life of balance that Madeline and I have been talking about, choosing wellness rather than just having, whatever comes by. And it's with all the stresses that we have, people are getting sicker sooner, and we have a crisis in our healthcare, in our health in Canada and the United States and all over the world. So we have the opportunity to educate people about something that is proactive, something that can prevent illness, and also something that if you have gone over that edge like I did, and your friend Madeline and yourself too with stress, we can put the body back in balance so that we can have a very healthy lifestyle. And we believe that a wellness home, which as you mentioned consists of technologies that put our body in a natural environment, that is the solution, because like you, I'm not on any medication, and I just finished my 70th cycle around the sun. So I'm pretty excited about that, to have the health and the free time to do what I want without being on any medication. So our job is simple. We help people know what is a wellness home and to choose that if they're ready for it. We share what we have with people. We're a very customer-centric business, so we treat our customers like gold, and we also have the opportunity to help other people do the same. So in that, we create a team, and you mentioned already that we work with some of the best, most like-minded people on the planet to do this. It's pretty fun. Teach 3 to reach 3 is our motto, as you said earlier. And what I realized, because I was working full-time when I was introduced to NECAN, and most people are, that the process has to be something that people can do easily and that they can fit in the cracks of time, so that they can, create that active wellness and start to work on whatever wealth goals they have. So the first thing people do is join NECAN, usually as a customer, and out of that, if they decide that they want to share this with other people, they can upgrade to consultant status and share this and promote this with other people. And our main job is to have conversations, which I like doing anyway, and finding out if people are open and interested in a change. Then we connect people to whatever part of NECAN works for them. And that's fluid. As I said, people can join as a customer, become a consultant, then they can switch back to customer if they want. It's all up to the individual. And the really great thing about this, I had thought about having a business in the past, but I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to do all the heavy lifting, like, the research and development, the shipping, the invoicing, the inventory, all of that. NECAN handles all of that. So all we do is just connect people to NECAN. NECAN ships the product directly to the customers and then rewards us for doing that in the form of a thank you paycheck every month. So it's a pretty simple system. So Madeline, you want to talk about this page, how we share and collaborate so that we build a meaningful income with NECAN?
Okay, you can see the steps, and they're color-coded, so it's easy to follow. Maggie and I are both educators, and this is a very nice visual model to relate to. So as Maggie mentioned, becoming a customer is free. So you don't have to pay a fee. And with 18 and 20 years of experience, many people previously paid for a membership to get a discount, and they really didn't want to do a business. So the new changes that have been implemented are absolutely wonderful. Some people, once they go through an information process like this, might in fact say, I got it. I just want to begin, invest in my own wellness home. And they may not have started as a customer. It just depends on where you are. Those are typically the exception, but sometimes it's somebody who may have left. I just had somebody new join me in NECAN who was in several years ago, remembered me, called me, ready to go, out the chute, had let the membership drop and was ready to begin again. So one of the important new factors is helping to qualify. So there's something called a QE, a qualified enrollee. So you see in the green that what we work on is developing a customer base, and it's a minimum, not a maximum, of at least 5 customers that total 500 points of monthly retail sales. Now, some people can be on auto ship every other month, quarterly. Some people can buy a retail-only purchase of a sleep system one time and a water filter several months later. So they're intermittent retail-only customers. What's nice is to have a combination of both and to have many, so that on the average, you have a minimum of 500 points. And NECAN gives something like Kohl's reward points, so that for the customer, for the new consultant, they make money from the beginning. You make $125 if you have 500 points worth of customers every month. So you're making an automatic $125 and 50 reward dollar, no, 25 reward dollars is the 500, and then 50 at 1,500 and 75, which you can accumulate. So if somebody new comes in and they want to work towards a goal of paying for their new sleep pad or a blanket or a bigger ticket item, they can work real hard with retail customers, save their reward points, and go shopping and get their own products free. So moving up the steps is very nice for someone to begin. And we kind of say there's a good, better, best. It depends on the time you have to build your business. how fast you are in a learning curve, the kind of support that you have, how willing you are to be coachable, and using an ABC. We're doing this here tonight. We have a dear friend of mine on here tonight, Hattie Jane from Virginia, and I met Hattie Jane on one of these events. And so she is actually leveraging this call by being a B and listening to two different A's to get to learn and listen to skills. People have often said to me, well, Madeline, you could do this because you're a nurse. Well, they didn't teach me this in nursing school. They didn't teach me how a magnet worked in nursing school. You know, the way I've learned this is the way I learned nursing. I had a preceptor and we practiced and we repeated what they told us and we read, and it's the same thing. You do the repetition of skills and then you become an expert and you're out on your own and you're the A for the next person. And so it is critical, absolutely critical. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And the more people you invite and let them do the talking and the demonstrating and so forth, and it's not just talking. Again, had Jerry come to visit me and showed me a simple strength test, or if I just even visually saw her, I would have been in this bandwagon a lot sooner. Okay, so we have gathering customers. Well, I guess I should have moved down to step 2 with gathering customers, and then up having the total in the yellow, and then up having the total of a minimum of 500. You really want a minimum of 1,500 every month. Your new people that join you are going to duplicate what the leader does. The speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. And people are different, and some may not. Some may choose to go slower. Somebody may have a death in the family, and life gets in the way, and that's what a life in balance is about. So the more customers you have, the more new members that join you, you don't have to worry about that. There's always an ebb and a flow, and we're never to stop. Always continue to share, always introduce. There's turnover in every industry. People lose interest, and sometimes they get what they want and don't need anything until a new product comes out or until they need cartridges for one of their air water filters. Then finding your first business partner, this partners up, and helping to mentor them. Maggie has been a mentor for me, and we're helping to mentor others. And that part is so beautiful. We're called collaborative entrepreneurs because we really care and we want others to experience what we've experienced. And so we just teach the other partner to duplicate what we've done. So there's many tools to use, something called an Entrepreneurs 21 Club. There's a Paragon Award. There's the Reward Bucks. There's a Summer Sizzle, all kinds of incentives that if we just use the tools and incentives, these events, and I encourage anybody who's listening or who watches the recording to come on live. You have an opportunity to bring guests in and share this experience with others. Now, there's a process of leverage. If you were to simply take your calculator out and multiply 3 times 3, you get 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is, I think it comes up to 216 or whatever. There is a duplicated exponential effect. So that if you continue to do your 500 minimum, and you teach everybody else to do that minimum, some will do 700, some may only do 200, some may do 1,500. There are people now that are doing 5,000 points using internet customers and Facebook and social media and so forth. Once you have 39 people that are producing some volume, you can see the kinds of incomes that you have here, and you rank advance in our organizational chart. And I want to clarify something here. I had many people say to me, I don't know what network marketing even was. It wasn't introduced to that when I went through all of my academic training for nursing. You're in one of those pyramid schemes. And I quickly learned this, the advancement ladder. And I said, when I was a vice president, which would be like a platinum, I had a president above me. When I was a head nurse, I had a director above me. And when I worked in the dietary department for 85 cents an hour, I still had somebody above me. I became a silver in my first month. My sponsor, Jerry, became a silver the month prior to me. She'd been getting better for 2 years. And she's still a silver, and I'm a platinum. So in all my years of working in corporate America, I never had a rank 2 levels higher and earn more money than the person who was above me. whether I was in that dietary kitchen or a vice president role. So when you share and collaborate and you really work with helping a lot of customers and find a few people that want to be mentored, 3 that want what you want and see what you see, and you work with 3, that's a span of control to help to develop that is reasonable while you're still taking good care of your customers. And then if you get 6, all the better. Multiply 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, and it's even more exponential. But you can see the exponential increase, and just try that exercise on your calculator. So the power of leverage for income is what this slide is about. But if you go back to my initial comments, we have a world out of balance. If we have a chance to impact 1,092 families, whether they just have a water system or the whole wellness home, versus 3 families, we really can make a big effect on our world. So would you like to end this one, Maggie? This is your show here.
Well, yeah, we have to be very aware of time, and you've covered so much of this. Thank you, Madeline. You've covered the reward points, which can accumulate, and I just cash in a whole bunch of reward points, and when that comes, it feels like Christmas, because these are gifts basically from the company, rewards for doing what we do. The retail profits are a major part of our business when we get started, but there are the cash bonuses like the Entrepreneurs Club and so on. And the lifestyle bonus, which I've been receiving for 20 years now, 19 years, I guess. And you can do anything you want with that bonus. That would be part of my trip to France and so on. And incentives, travel, I've been to Japan and other places. And the biggest piece of creating meaningful income to replace an income is the leadership bonuses. And that comes when you develop a team and support them to reach their goals. So it's a wonderful business in that there's so many mentors and coaches. We don't worry about who's in whose organization. We work collaboratively so that, as the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all vessels. And when we do that, we not only create tremendous friendships around the world, but we have a lot of fun, and we have lots of live meetings as well as these online meetings. And most of us are going to be in San Antonio in October, so I'm coming back from France to San Antonio, so it'll be another leg of my journey home. So it's really a lifestyle that I just thought only other people could access until I joined NECAN. And I built a good business so that I could enjoy the rewards of the exponential income like you're talking about. And we're going to end with this slide, because a lot of people like myself started part-time. Now, Madeline, you were able to start full-time, correct?
I was. At the time, had a husband and a roof over my head, so I started full-time.
Yeah. And that's nice, because this is all about your choice and the flexibility of building this the way it works for you. So as a part-time entrepreneur and a very busy professor and doing more post-grad work, I didn't have very much time. But I utilized that time by contacting and inviting people in the cracks of time that I had, and having enough conversations to find the people who are looking for what we have. We teach people to not be in the convincing business, to not try to, push people. It's about inviting people and educating people so they can make the right choice for them. Within 3 years, I moved to a full-time entrepreneur position. I was single at that time, so I didn't have any other income besides my NECAN income. And that was a big, scary step, but I'm really glad that I did it. And I have been helping others do that ever since, and absolutely love what I do, because it really does fit my personality, somebody who likes to make a difference, somebody who likes to reach out and meet people wherever they are and have those conversations. So this is just a brief insight into what is the NECAN choice, not just in terms of the wellness home, but in terms of the collaborative entrepreneurship that is our business. So any closing comments, Madeline, about why you're glad you're still in NECAN after 18 years, you said?
18 years last May 31st. My closing comments were, don't take too long to study it, and don't take too long to learn what to do or how to do it. Work with a mentor and talk to people, create conversations, and learn how just to ask questions and listen. We have some wonderful new tools now to use, and create a momentum, because there is really a need of what we have. You have an opportunity, and it's success and practice and repetition that breeds confidence and more success. And all that we're really doing, I've had so many people say, well, I don't really want to sell anything. I just want to help people. Well, we can help more people through leverage. And we have products that don't need to be tested or researched. Any company that's 41 and a half years old without lawsuits on products, you don't want to know about the lawsuits and malpractice on patients that are in hospitals. You're at a much bigger risk to swallow a pill. You don't even know it's the right pill that you're being given, and all the untoward side effects of 3 and 4 different kinds. And so it's just so safe. It's so needed. So don't spend too much time, just like the Nike ad. Just do it, and do it now.
I love that. I love that. Especially people like you and I who can overthink things, right? Just do it.
Yes. I mean, it's easy, to study it out. Yes. Actually, I bought a book that Randy Rolfe wrote on the 4 different the types, the archetypes, and the humors. And I'm a pretty typical sanguine, and I have it's been so excited. In it is the think. So I didn't have to find that in there. I already knew that about myself. So now to continue working on it and keeping it simple and just share from your heart.
Right. So if you're interested in having this life of balance, this creative entrepreneurship that we do, don't stop here. Tune into this channel. We have 15 or so calls every week that are live. Then we have recordings in our back office as well at the Royal Alliance. So just keep, and even when people join, what I suggest they do is start going through all of those different calls so that they learn more about what Nikken is and what it can bring to you.
You don't know until you look at it. Actually, 9:30 tonight, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'll be live doing the product showcase. So tune back in.
Right. Good point, Madeline. And you do such a great job. So I want to thank you for coming in to the call today from Ohio, and to everybody else from Virginia and California. And I'm not sure where the phone 714 is coming from, but thank you so much for being part of our call today. And if you want to have the recording of this or see the recording of it, I am going to put it up on my YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube and look for Maggie McKee, and you will find it there. So have a great day, folks, and thank you so much.
Good night. I see where Hattie Jane has a guest, and I highly encourage you to listen to Hattie Jane and connect to me. I'm happy to help her.
Absolutely. Hi there. Okay, so I'm going to end. What was that, Hattie? You're muted. We're not recording anymore, so you can unmute and ask us a question.
Thank you.
Hi, we were saying thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And Ruth's saying thank you also. And she's looking at Nikken, has been using the products. Hi.
Great.
So this is the Ruth. I get to see the Ruth. We already
Yes.
told you call. Well, Ruth,
That's right.
Yes, just keep using whatever you have and just invest in yourself. That's all you need.
It's helping with the